Hey Hollywood fans, and happy Christmas, because we are just moments away from celebrating the end of 2021. Thank you for everyone who has been out there watching, sharing, subscribing, liking, loving, everything that's needed to support a platform like this. We've now officially signed off on our 6th season, and this year we did 5-0. That is a massive amount of work. You guys have no idea what happens behind the scenes. It's my platform now to say thank you to all of our partners and our sponsors, and of course, my collaborators, the guys from Gxcc. So to Ivan and Gareth, thanks guys. Couldn't do it without you, especially with all of the race coverage that we've been pumping into the shows, especially for the second half of this season. So 2021 is in the bag. All we've got to do now is sign things off on this show. So for this show, it's going to be a focus in on the support classes. These are the bread and butter classes, the Pro-Ams and the Wow Gates, the Pro-Am 1, 2, 3s, the ladies, as well as the Wows that go out and race on the Gxccs. And just a reminder, these guys race the exact same track that all of the Pro category guys do. So these are the bread and butter, these are the future riders, and we love them. We love to give them their support, as well as the big high five. Everyone likes to see themselves or hear their name mentioned on the show. So for the support class, this is just for you. For our final Gxcc coverage of the 2021 championship, it's going to be the focus on Carltonville and our support class bikes. That is our Pro-Ams, OR1, 2, 3, Pro-Am ladies, and the Wow class. And everyone lined up looking seriously nervous to get those all-important, vital points on the plate. For the big bangers, all eyes were going to be on Rudy Vieira. The Rooster needed to have a good one, and he very nearly saw the cheese. Himself and his championship rival were the first guys to get out front and run the numbers, leaving everyone else to battle in the mixed traction terrain that was Cottonville. The title chase was still on. For the OR2 Pro-Ams, Vernon Nordia had a solid hookup in the second half of the season, and he fired his Husqvarna up onto clear air with championship rival and the man that would be the outright championship leader, Brad Burrell, on his wheel. Alain Detoy had his best ever pull off the line and slotted into a rocking early third place. For the OR3s, Teak Harrower had made the big jump up on the MCA squad from the 250 smoking Honda on the Wow class to now take on the establishment. Teak was gone though as he pulled the numbers off the front to stay ahead of some key riders. Jordan Pepper had lined himself up on Keegan Campos's race machine and was going to be challenging inside the top 3 early on. For the Wow class, they joined the Pro-Am ladies, where Tegan Reed pulled the pin on the 24, another motocross crossover, trying her hand at cross-country racing, but all eyes were on the 170 of Shady Hrobler, who was looking to wrap up a near-perfect championship in 2021. And then the incredible sight and spectacle that was the Wow class men, combined with the Chommy Challenge and threw in a couple of adventure bikes. This was the most spectacular Wow Gate we have ever sent out on the Gxccs, and they went out into the massive 51-kilometer route that was Carltonville. Starting out our coverage as the men and women went out there for the Wow class, it was CD Goosen who once again went out to see what he can do on the two-wheeler. Remember, a 2-time and reigning Q2 champion. CD trying to figure things out on the two-wheeler as he looks forward to a new challenge in 2022. Up the road from him was Jason Hill, who swung a leg and did a great job of things to make his way inside of the top 5. Everyone came back and said for the Wow class, Carltonville was the best laid out track for them, as it didn't ask too much of the technical riding skills. It was all about bravery and trying to get that traction down in the mud. Stian Cummings was rock solid inside of a number 4 as he chased up and just missed out on those coveted 1, 2s and 3s on the box. Quinton Tout was the first of those riders to get that incredible third place ride. Tout on the W52 was very smooth and very methodical in his approach, didn't take too many risks, and you could see he wasn't stuck in the roost. He stayed pretty clean most of the day. Jurgens Potgieter was a revelation though. He was an aggressive rider. He certainly set some of the strong pace as he was aggressive, attacking the mud. That's exactly what you got to do just lean back and give it horns. There was one guy faster than him though, and that was Aubrey Meyer. Meyer was very, very strong in these conditions as well. He didn't have such a good gait, but once he figured out how to get that traction down, he was simply gone. On the ladies' pro-ams, there was a high attrition rate, with only 2 ladies eventually seeing the finish, getting jammed up in some of the gnarliest weather out there. Lindy Barnard credited herself as the second and final finisher on the ladies' pro-am gate, and that was combined with the WOW ladies as well. But once again, it was Shady Hrobler who dominated the season and dominated the championship. For the last 3 quarters of 2021, she has been the lady to beat, and she will now, with this win at Cottonville, confirm herself as the ladies' Pro-Am champion for 2021. Shady on top there. She's got the number 1 plate for next season, and that'll see her moving up into the pro category for 2022. She beat out on Barnard on the day. And then the WOW bikes, it was Meyer ahead of Potgieter, Tout, Cummings, Hill, and the Goose, CD Goosen. Next up, our Pro-Am men's categories, where in the OR3s, we saw a stellar lineup of riders, well over 25 of these crazies going out into the slop. Ignis Duplessis cracked his way inside the top 6. That meant he was on the box come the end of play. Thorne Blake, who, like his brother Timmy, has been incredibly strong in 2021. The Blakes have definitely been putting in the work out there in Mpumalanga, and it is showing. Blake inside of number 5, credited with a top 5 in the championship as well. Renier Van Heerden on the C800 rock and rolled his way to a top 4, and that was incredible riding as well. He loved the high speed, flat out nature of the Carlton terrain. And then one of the surprise results and surprise packages of the season, Jordan Pepper, who is an incredibly talented circuit racing 4-wheeled driver, coming across from the US, where he's just wrapped up another championship, and Geordie rocked his way to a top 3 on the final round. Bernie Besadenhout, even though he was out the back door coming off the whole shot, and he gated something like 6th or 7th, he managed to move past a lot of traffic and eventually get himself up into 2nd place. That also kept him high up in his championship challenge. But I've been saying he's one of the finds of the season. Teak Arua finally gets the nod from the MCA squad, moves up onto a practice Husky 250, and straight out the gate, moving up from multiple wins in the WOW class, takes his first win in the Pro-Am OR3s out at Carltonville. Confirmation of seeing Harrower on the top step then, just this time on a different gate. He takes the win in the OR3 Pro-Ams, beaten out Besadenhout. Pepper, incredible form to see that 3rd place ahead of Van Heerden and Blake, with Duplessis, Jordan, Kutsa, Pino and Swat taking us to the top 10ers. OR2 Pro-Ams, this is where these guys start ripping the bars off, and every single one of these guys in the top 6 can challenge for a win if the track suits their style. Big Mig De Silva got it inside of a number 6, with Nathan Godrich very strong on the final round of the season with a number 5. Brad Burrell, who has been near on unstoppable, played the clever game on the day, rolled back a little bit, took a number 4 finish, but was still good enough to be crowned champion with that result. He just didn't want to crash at the final time of asking. The top Yamaha man was Gav Young, who got himself up there inside of a number 3, and he had that 250 YZ singing down the big straights. Up the road from him was the ever-improving and talented Elaine DeToy. Elaine got the hookup. He got his best gate of the season in 3rd place, and he then improved on the day. Even if he got caught out in that last lap storm, he got his highest ever Gxcc finish. A number 2. There's only one place to go from there, and that is the tippy top step. That step on the day belonged to Vernon Nordia. Nordia has come good in the second half of the season, from switching out to one of the teams into the privateer category, and he seems to be good working out the back of his bucky. Nordia with the final win of the season. Elaine DeToy, his top ever Gxcc ride into a number 2 spot, beating out on Young, Burrell and Godrich, with De Silva, Van Gool, Hennings, Jordan and McAteer the top 10, but it was Burrell who was crowned champ of the OR2 Pro-Ams in 2021. And on to the big bangers. These guys were out there in force. It was a stacked gate of over 15 riders ripping the bars off. with Yucko Smith getting himself up inside of a number 6. Remember, the terrain at Carltonville was pretty easy, but you had to be brave to unleash the beasts that are running on the Pro-Am OR1s. Shane Ninoba was inside of a number 5 as he tamed the terrain, with Ruan Blanche just a little bit further up the road from him and off the back wheel of the championship rivals, the Rooster, Rudy Vieira. Remember, he had those terrible tire issues 1 or 2 rounds back, and he simply needed those points. Third place, he'd have still been biting his fingernails as his championship rival and his closest man on points, Dennis van der Merwe, was up the road from him. But Dennis didn't take the final win of the season. That honor belonged to Marius Venter. Marius, a former pro OR1 racer with a couple of seasons out, he came back to dust off the old skills to pay the bills, and Venter took the final OR1 Pro-Am win in 2021. The final results, though, tell the story with Venter on top, van der Merwe and Vieira. But in the title chase, it was the Rooster, Rudy Vieira, that won the title, beating out on his arch rival, Dennis van der Merwe, who was credited with the number 2 finish out at Cottonville. To Blanche and Ninoba were inside the top 5, with Smith, Wells, Campbell, van der Merwe and Van der Westhuizen taking us to the top 10. But it's the Rooster that wears the crown. That concludes our coverage of the support class and our final coverage of the Gxccs in 2021. We can't wait to see you on the line next season. Keep training, and we'll see you out there. And as we said in last week's show, with the support class done and dusted, that is Gxcc's, boom, job done. Remember, they have put out their dates as well, so make a note. We are racing nice and early, the first racing weekend of February, and it does look like we're going to get a couple of new venues as well. So we'll get those announcements through from the Gxcc guys as soon as they know exactly where they're going. But for now, we can't wait to get ourselves ready. Also, remember, Leon and the Farm Jam crew have smashed out their 2022 dates. They're going to be running a 5-round championship, and they've laid out all of the breakdowns of which bikes fit into which category. And also, on another note for the Farm Jam guys, for the novice, amateurs, and pro guys, they are going to be awarding an overall champion out of each of those gates. So there's plenty of racing to watch out for. As you can see, for the last 6 months or so, we've been working with Justin Bauer from CW Cycle Works Suspension, and he has been giving us incredible feedback. This is just some of the highlights of his season. So Justin Bauer and Cycle Works have been with Hollywood Hills as our technical suspension partner. They came on board at the very beginning. In fact, they were one of the first guys to put their hand up and say that they were going to be helping us out with the Goon Wagon build. It seems like ages ago, but it was around about the June or July area that we started that project. That's where we first made friends with Justin, figured out how good he was at what he did, and then we've been working together for the last 6 months. We worked with him on his test platform where we was able to go out and show a couple of clients how his suspension works and give him the personal touch as well. And then you started noticing many CW suspension decal kits at the races, which means he was getting a lot of support, a lot of work, and a lot of maintenance and setup, as well as upgrades throughout all of the racing platforms that we cover here at Hollywood Hills. So from Hollywood to CW, thanks for the support, Justy, and we can't wait to see you once again in 2022 as you give us all the little ins and outs and nitty gritties about how best to set up your suspension and how not to do certain things. We can't wait to high five Justy, the Olins, and the CW crew once again as we roll forward into 2022. So that is it. Show number 50 in the can. That is 2021. Done and dusted, wrapped up tight in a bow. Guys, have a fantastic Christmas. Keep training. Send us all the information if you guys are changing teams or changing sponsorships or changing bikes that you're riding, changing anything. Let us know and we'll try and shine a light on some of the big news, because we know there's some massive news coming in as far as manufacturers and rider changes go for 2022. For now, from myself, Matt Hollywood Smith, from Ivan and Gareth, the LiveX lads that I work with, tirelessly throughout the year. We want to say thank you so much, and we'll sign off with this one. Have a fantastic Christmas, a great new year, and as always, we'll see you on the line in 2022. Cheers.